Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, Trap and Roll Soap Company, as well as Rolls Gear. And you can find all of our old episodes at bjjshow.com. I'm Rob, and we had Nicholas Rahn on from Warriors Next Adventure, a nonprofit organization that's looking to help out veterans and kind of get them together, talk about some things that, you know, affect them in the military and outside in civilian life. It's a phenomenal organization that he has started. And we got to talk a little bit about his story, what he does, and I guess the hazards of doing a podcast in front of a place with heavy foot traffic. So I hope you guys really do enjoy this episode. Like I said, you can go to bjjshow.com, check out some of the other episodes we've done, and if this is your first time listening, hey, you know, welcome. And hopefully we can get some more episodes out for you here pretty soon, but we hope you guys enjoy this one.
Sponsors real quick?
Yeah, let's go. Actually, we do have sponsors, but I generally do that on my own roll. So it's just like not even a minute. We're losing sponsors. Tape Armor has not given us tape, so no longer a sponsor. Fucking done.
Isn't there like a bunch of cops who came up with like some new tape or some shit like that?
Yeah.
Zach,
it's like blue line tape, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Is it for grappling?
Yeah, it's grappling tape.
Oh no, it's fuzz tape.
Fuzz tape, there you go.
Tape.
Yeah, that's what it was. This Zach, fuck Zach, I'm sorry, I forgot his name. He actually had a bunch of rolls, but it comes with a pack.
Yeah.
There's like a skinny roll, there's a thicker roll, and then a bigger roll, all in one. So you can choose your tape size.
All right, well, I know what I'm doing this weekend.
I'm actually going to contact them and see if maybe they'll make like some Warriors Next Adventure branch out. Like through them, though.
Yeah.
And like do like a, 50-50 split on the WNA stuff.
Okay.
That'd be sweet. I'm calling it now.
Good.
Guys.
Do it. No, you do your thing. I just want tape. Look at these hands. Are fucking. I just want tape, man. Sponsor us. There's no other reason to start a podcast other than just getting sponsors and pretending to be cool. That's really, well, at least on our side of the house. That's
cool.
Yeah.
Can I say my sponsor?
Yeah, go for
it.
it.
The Bake Shop Treats. So they're based out of Illinois, and they kind of bounce back and forth between Minneapolis and Illinois. All their stuff comes from a biolab in Illinois, and it's pure shit. So it's CBN, CBD, CBG. Yeah, I think that's it. Because there's a bunch of new different cannabinoids that they found, different strands of CBD. So like the CBN, CBG, shit like that. Like the CBG is like, they're finding studies that it's actually been known to shrink cancer cells. Yeah, it's like legit shit. So
Jesus.
I personally took their stuff for about 2 months because I'm like, I'm not gonna promote CBD if it doesn't actually work.
Yeah.
But I looked at their lab results. Like their lab results are 100% pure. There's no sunflower oil and shit mixed in with there because it's like a filler for CBD.
Yeah.
And it's all 100% pure shit. It's mixed with some of it's mixed with CBN, CBD, CBG, CBD, or CBD. There's whatever. Too many CB. I'm confusing myself.
There's a lot of letters in it.
Yeah. But they make like gummies. They literally can make whatever you want. You can call them and they'll make you any kind of gummies you want. They'll make you brownies and stuff like that.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It's good stuff. It's all CBD though.
All CBD though.
No THC. Sorry guys. Gotta go to Colorado for that shit.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show. I'm Rob.
I'm Randy.
And we have a special guest, Nicholas Rahn from Warriors Next Adventure. Drove all the way out here to see us, train a little bit, and he wants to talk about what he's been doing, and we want to hear about what he's been doing, and we just want to chat because that's what we do on a podcast.
Hear about the struggle bus?
The struggle bus. So
that bus, man. I love it, but goddamn it.
So you have your mission. The mission is...
So Warriors Next Adventure is a 501c3. We started back in 2019. I had my own struggles with PTSD. Eventually led to a suicide attempt. I mean, if you want to tell me that, if you want me to tell a story, I can. But it got to the point where, I failed, and I got to the point where I wanted to figure out what the fuck was wrong with me.
Yeah.
And so I started to do the research. I got deep into studying PTSD and like why veterans suffer. What are some of the issues that veterans are dealing with, and like why are we so fucked up when we get out of the military, right? Because there's so many different answers to that question. It's an extremely complex answer because it can be different for everybody. And so I started looking, trying to find all of the different reasons why veterans struggle when we get out. And I've came to determine through like polls, studies, shit like that, the biggest issues we face are sense of purpose, camaraderie, adventure, and then relationships and finance. So those are the main things that, over the span of like 5-6 years doing polls and asking people and, writing down all this stuff. And this is all research done by myself, right? I'm not I'm not a counselor. I'm not a PhD. I'm none of that shit. Yeah. I don't have any fancy letters next to my name. So I'm just a guy who did the work. And so eventually I started building this program called Warriors Next Adventure. And so what I decided that I was going to feed that fuel that veterans need. I'm going to feed all of those different things that veterans are struggling with. Relationships, not the greatest with, considering I've been divorced twice. So working on that one. We're getting there. And the financial side, I'm actually working on that as well. So I'm working on a couple projects personally for myself, not through the nonprofit. But eventually, once I get to the point where I perfect what I'm doing, I'm going to teach other veterans how to do it too, for free. I'm not going to charge them.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, so it's just like, I want to help in every aspect of a veteran's life. And the main reason is because I was hurting, I was struggling, and all of those things I didn't have. I had poor finances, I had a shit marriage, I had no sense of adventure because I didn't do anything. I wasn't allowed to leave my house. My first marriage was it was garbage. Found out Jody was hanging around when I was deployed. Yeah.
Fucking Jody.
I know, right?
Gets you every time,
Son of a
man.
bitch. Somebody needs to kill that motherfucker. Right. he just keeps duplicating.
He's like the fucking Highlander, man. You gotta, just kill him when he comes back.
I know, right? There could be only one per day. What the fuck? So yeah, that kind of sucks. Like, we were going through divorce in 2012 when I was getting out, because I found out after my last deployment that she had been having some fun while I was gone. We were together for 7 years at the time. And I was getting ready to leave her. Now, let me just say, like, me and her get along just fine now. We got 2 kids together. Yeah. So, like, she's the mother of my kids. Like, I respect her, and, we treat each other well. We laugh and joke when we see each other. So it's, the past is the past. But it is still a part of my story. And so she got pissed at me once because I was talking about it. I was like, it happened. Yeah. You have to accept the fact that it happened. It's a part of my past. It's a part of my story. And it is a part of the reason why I tried to kill myself. It's not fucking made up shit. And so the only reason why I talk about it is to share, like, these are some of the struggles that veterans go through, and once I finally left her, everything changed, because I realized she was very toxic, but I was very toxic to her too. Because a lot of people think that, they leave a relationship thinking, well, this person's this person's this, but they never look at what did you do wrong, because every single person contributes to a relationship. It's not just one person, ever. There's always 2 sides of the story. There's always 2 sides to that coin. And so a lot of folks want to sit there and play the game where, like, well, she did this, and I was perfect. Nah, dude, I was not perfect. I was a huge piece of shit, especially when I got back from, I got out of the military in 2012, and the first thing I did was get the worst possible job you could get outside the military as a pizza delivery boy. Oh, shit. So I was 24 delivering pizzas, making $7 an hour in tips. When a couple months before I was a 50 cal gunner, protecting my people in Afghanistan. So it's like life or death, and then, fucking late pizza. So it's a big hit to the ego. So I got a job as a bouncer as well in Minneapolis. And Minneapolis is known very well for the party scene. It's actually lots of fun, a little too much fun sometimes. And I realized that, blow is very accessible in Minneapolis. And so what we do is we get ready for work, because it was like a fancier club, so we had to be dressed nice. We had to be like suit and tie, or we had to be in like really nice button-ups, and our hair had to be done. Like, we actually had to look presentable. And so when we were in the bathroom getting ready before everything, somebody always break out some Coke. And it's like, okay, I guess breathe that shit in, and then fucking next thing you know, the club opens up and we just start beating the fuck out of people. It's like, or it's not every night, but most nights it would get to the point where we were so fucked up, and that's all we wanted to do was just fight people. The first person that lipped off to me, I'd knock him out, or I'd put him in a choke, or I'd fucking throw him on the floor, just a piece of shit, right? So I'm not promoting this, obviously.
Yeah.
It was super fun, but I don't recommend it. You know, like I almost got stabbed and like shit was crazy. But eventually got to the point where, you know, I was trying to make my marriage work, but she like completely betrayed me, you know? And then I didn't forgive her at that time. And so eventually I just gave in and started screwing around, and I started being the piece of shit, doing drugs and, you know, meeting new chicks every night. And it was to the point where like I started to feel even more depressed about myself because I was making shitty choices and I was being a terrible human being. She eventually found out, and I was just like, all right, you got me. We're even. Let's try to actually make this work. Because the reason why I got back together with her when I was getting out was before she left, I had knocked her up with my second kid. So I was like, you know, I'm going to try to be a good guy and get back together with her and try to make things work, but it was a horrible decision. So after she found out, we decided we were actually going to try. I tried very hard. I stopped doing drugs. I went back to drinking a lot more, which was not good. But 2014, this was about 2014-ish time frame. And I started training jiu-jitsu again in 2014. So I had trained in the military. Yeah. I started boxing in 2008 in Iraq in Camp Bucca. We had a boxing ring there. We had fight night every Friday. I think it was like every third Friday of the month or something like that. So I was just like, I want to box. And it was like, do you know how to box? Like, nah, where do I learn?
Dude, they
like,
didn't give a shit like for those fights, man.
Nah.
Just like, yeah, because they would do the MMA shit and boxing like out there in Tikrit as well. And just like, get together and just beat the shit out of each other. Nobody fucking cares.
Well, I trained for a month before my first fight. So I was actually supposed to fight my ambassador. His name is Chad Miller. I'm going to talk shit about you, Chad. I love you, but you're a shithead. So we were on the same squad. Me and Chad went to tech school together. We were in basic the same time, different units, but tech school the same time. We were Air Force, so tech school is like our A school. And then we got to our first base together, 4 deployments together. Like me and this kid just were inseparable. And so after the military, I reached out to him and said, hey, I'm starting this thing and I need some help. And so Chad helps me with hikes over in New York and stuff. He's my New York ambassador. But me and him were supposed to fight because in the military, we always went at it. We were like the brothers. You know, just constantly beating the shit out of each other. I loved the kid, but I wanted to punch him most days. You know, I'm sure he could say the same about me because I was kind of a dick. And so we agreed on a boxing match. And so I was just like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And I was pumping it up. But eventually he's just like, nah, I'm not going to do it. And I'm like, you motherfucker. 2 weeks before the fight, dude. Chad, you bitch. I'm going to send this to him too, so he's going to hear me talking shit. I'll never say something about somebody I wouldn't say to their face.
Word.
But like we've talked about this, and like it's funny now. And so I ended up boxing a guy who'd been boxing for like 2 years. Just fucking worked me the first round. Second round, I actually won that round, which is nice. And then he won the third round, so I lost by decision. But it was like, that was fucking cool, man. I actually did a boxing match. I was like, I'm a man. And then I met Joe Lozon that deployment.
Yeah.
So Joe Lozon, Heath Herring, and Jorge Rivera came out. And so I asked Joe, because I loved Joe. Joe was awesome. He was one of my favorite people because he was humble. He's a nice guy. I don't like the whole Conor McGregor fucking persona.
No.
I'm not a fan of that.
I'm very much the same boat.
Yeah. Entertaining, sure, but like I like seeing the guys I like seeing the nice guys. The nice badasses. That's why I got a tattoo of Michelangelo, the Ninja Turtle, on my calf. Because he's super nice, he's happy, but he can kick the shit out of people.
Hell yeah.
I love
That was
it.
always my favorite one.
Yeah.
Michelangelo.
And he loves pizza.
Oh, yeah.
I
Oh,
love-
yeah. What's wrong with pizza?
You know they called me Papa Ron in the military? Because I had my own pizza recipe. So like I'd make pizza for the fire department and law enforcement and shit like that. And I actually made some pretty good money when I was in.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good shit.
Papa Ron sounds cooler than Papa John's.
It does. Yeah, Papa John's, you just get a generic
A little less
pie.
racist too.
Oh, that too. Yeah, God, I keep forgetting that. You just dropping a little bit of racism there. Was it Twitter or was it to his own employees? I don't
I
remember.
think it was like during some kind of like some speech with his company.
God, of
Dropped
course.
the N-word or something like that.
Of course it was.
Yeah, Jesus. But yeah, so like that, I told Joe, I'm like, dude, I was like, I love watching you fight. I was like, I want to be a fighter. He's like, what do I do? He's like, focus on jiu-jitsu. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Because I was already training here and there, off and on.
Yeah.
I started in 2007 in my first deployment. Okay, I was in guitar, so that's not really deployment, but I always tell people like one of my worst PTSDs, you know, that I have from the military is actually from guitar. People laugh at me, and I just look at them in the face and say, you know what? They ran out of mint ice cream at least once a week. Okay? You know how hard it is? When you go to Dairy Queen and you walk 2 miles and they have no mint ice cream? It's fucking rough. You got to go over to the Chili's by the poolside instead.
Sounds terrible.
That was awful. there was like 4 pubs on that base.
Oh, god damn.
Yeah, we could drink 3 beers a day. It was wonderful.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, I hated it though, because I was like, I want to actually do something. So after 08, that was in Camp Book. I was a 50 cal gunner on that deployment. I was the lead gunner for area route clearance team. Yeah. So we'd search for IEDs and pull them off the road and shit. We wouldn't, but you would. Yeah. And so I told Joe, I was like, I'm gonna be a fighter. I was like, you're gonna see me in the cage one of these days. I didn't want to fight him because he'd fuck me up, but I got back from that deployment and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do the next fight. There was a NAGA tournament coming up. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna go do NAGA over in Charlotte. No, Richmond, Virginia. Yeah. And I won my first match, and I'm like, I'm fucking God. I am the best. Nobody's better than me. And then I lost like in 30 seconds in my second match. I'm like, motherfucker. But it was single elimination, so I was done. I was like, son of a bitch. And there was a tournament, a NAGA tournament in Charlotte like the next weekend. I'm like, I'm going to that. I was like, I'm not going to fucking end it like this. So I was talking about my career was over. You know, it was like my first tournament and shit. But I didn't train gi at this time. I only trained no gi. And so I ended up going to Charlotte, and I ended up winning a sword. I won the NAGA tournament.
Nice, good job.
So it was 4-0. And I ended up getting, I think it was like 2 arm bars, rear naked choke, and then I won by points for my final match. Bro, I had him in a guillotine, and he passed like right as the bell rang. So if he would actually pulled side control, I would have lost. So I got saved by the bell. But after that, I was like, okay, so I'm essentially an MMA fighter now, so I should go fight MMA. And so I started training Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu at this gym. I'm not going to say the name of the gym because the coach is a fucking asshole. And I don't say that. I don't talk shit about people. But it was to the point where nobody would train with me anymore because the way he was treating me. Like, he would kick the shit out of me. I was in there probably close to 20 hours a week. That's a lot of work. It is. Most guys say about 12 hours will get you a good fight camp. You know, 12 to like 15 hours or so. Yeah. So I was doing 20 as much as I could, right? And I was doing cardio with the military, so I was still active duty Air Force at the time. Believe it or not, we do PT. But you know that.
Every morning, it seems like.
It's golf usually, frisbee.
No, well, I will say this because like me and Oscar are the only Army guys here. So I remember being at Huachuca. Yeah. And we're doing PT because we'd start PT at 5 a.m. This is like, we're AIT, so tech school, A school, whatever you guys want to call it.
Where's that at?
Sierra Vista, Arizona.
Oh, okay. Wow, dude, that's going to be hot.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. But so I remember going out there, we're like 45 minutes into PT. Air Force guys jog out because they have like a school there as well. And they just like do like 4 or 5 wind sprints, and I guess like the tech sergeant's like, "All right, guys, good work. We're gonna fucking call it a day." I'm like, "We'll push like fuck you guys. God, I fucked up so bad joining the Army." Like,
they put me in charge of PT for a little bit towards the end of my service, and I was like, my give a fuck was pretty much gone. And so we'd go to the gym, and I'd be like, "Hey, we're gonna play volleyball today because we had a volleyball court." Yeah, I'm like, fucking love that shit. It's a lot of people think Top Gun was Air Force. It was actually Navy.
It was Navy.
But we do also like half shirtless volleyball. It's fun.
Oh yeah.
We're a little skinnier than the Navy guys though.
But they're a lot shorter, it seems.
Usually.
Yeah.
I could fit in tighter spaces.
Yeah. Submarines, aircraft carriers, airplanes.
Yeah.
Lockers. I mean, wherever you can, I guess.
Cavities. They'll know what we mean. But no, like it's, I would make them do that, or we'd go lift weights, and then we'd train jiu-jitsu. Like, anybody want to train jiu-jitsu? And so the commander found out and was like, "What are you doing this fucking rolling around gay shit?" I'm like, gay shit? What are you talking about, dude? It's like, this is like UFC fighters do this. It's like, oh, you guys can't be doing that touchy stuff, and you gotta run and do push-ups. I'm like, bro, I guarantee you, I didn't call my commander bro. He probably slapped shit on me, but like, if you start training. What did that guy just have on? Was that a Darth Vader mask?
That was. All right, yeah. So pretty much to give the listeners context, our friends, we call them friends on the show. Yeah. We're sitting in TFTC Academy. Best jiu-jitsu and MMA school in Cary by far. And they moved to a new location. First off, wonderful location.
This place is really nice,
It's
man.
dope. I love it.
Mat space is awesome. I love the white too.
Yeah.
White and gray mats. It's awesome.
That's all Brad. I can't take any credit for that. I'm just assistant. But Brad did a great job. The place looks immaculate all the time.
It's very good. And right next door is what?
It's a Milk Lab.
Milk Lab. Because I keep wanting to call it milk tea for some reason.
Well, they do have milk tea there, but
All right, so it's called Milk Lab. It's probably pretty good since we see nothing. Like everybody's going there.
There's like 40 people in the last 20 minutes we've been sitting here.
I'm not shaming y'all for wearing masks because Lord knows if you're not vaccinated, you should be wearing one. But what the fuck was that he was wearing?
I don't know.
It legit. So like, no, it was like the mask that
a predator mask.
Yeah, if you've seen Fury Road, it's like what Immortan Joe was wearing in his like car, like fucking getting the War Boys
Just
doing
missing
shit.
the wires.
you know what honestly reminded me of though, for real, is like, so when I was younger, I had childhood asthma.
Yeah.
So you need to get the albuterol treatments. You had to wear
hell
that
yeah.
breathing mask.
Oh yeah.
That's what it looked like. Like it looked like he was wearing the breathing mask, but without the breathing apparatus to it.
So maybe we're the assholes.
Or he's walking around wearing a CPAP machine or something. I don't know what he's.
That actually is kind of.
Portable CPAP.
Can we make that? Like,
That sounds fun.
It would be the context would be much better if the listeners could actually see the soy boy that just walked by.
he says as he walks by and looks right at him.
And I just keep
Jesus
saying what
Christ.
I-
Was that him?
I was like, oh, for fuck's
He
sake.
looks like he looked like Powder. Remember Powder, the movie?
Oh, that kid has hair, man.
Yeah, well, he had hair, but that could be the
Jesus
younger
Christ.
Powder, though.
Yeah. Again, for me too. Like people want to wear a mask, whatever. That's fine.
Yeah.
I have no issues with the whole. I stay out of the whole COVID bullshit. I do my own thing. Fucking. Typical with most government stuff. Leave me alone.
But I do have to say, though, based on something we said before we started recording, that kid walked by carrying some pretty strong big dig energy. Did you see the big dig energy that he had?
Yeah.
What, did you see it? Did you notice it?
That's strut.
He had his. He was peacocking, man. He had the chest out. And
It was practically dragging itself on the fucking ground.
He's trying to fly, man.
Probably
Let
did
that
not have
peacock
a big
fly.
dick, but he had
You just need the energy, my dude. You don't need the actual fake it till you make it. Or
Just gotta
until there's
take-
a surgery that you can get enlargement or
How long did we make it in this episode according to Big Coats?
20 minutes.
Oh wow.
That is a record, I think. Yeah. Why don't we have more sponsors? Fuck it. Oh well.
Oh shit. Yeah. It's yeah. I kept rolling with MMA, but eventually I had to quit because I was one of those guys. And now let me just say something for any
One
guy
of
out
those
there.
guys.
Any man listening to this, yes, I care about women too. Don't do the whole sexist bullshit. I'm talking to men right now for a second. If any man quits jiu-jitsu or a sport or a hobby that he absolutely loves because a woman tells him to, you will grow to hate that woman. Don't do it. Do not quit. You will resent that person the rest of your life.
That's good advice.
Because, and if you want your marriage to be successful too, you cannot quit something, unless it's like meth. You should probably quit that.
Good call.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's probably a good thing to quit. I say, maybe don't do meth. But no, like if you have something that you absolutely love and you have so much passion for, if you quit that thing, what you're doing is you're killing your soul. You're committing suicide. Your soul is killing itself. Yeah. And so that's essentially what happened to me is, she said that it took too much time away from the house. And I'm like, it's only 12 hours a week. And I was like, I work like 40 hours a week. I train jiu-jitsu 12 hours a week, and you have me the rest of the time. It's like, well, what about sleep? I'm like, well, you're next to me. Good enough. So like I would do my best to be like, well, what if we do this? She's like, no. And my dumb ass actually said, okay. And I listened. And I hated her for it. Absolutely hated her for it. I'm like, I can be training jiu-jitsu right now. But I'd train when I deploy. And like every time we deployed, we had like Balad has an awesome martial arts room.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome. All the walls are matted out. They did a really good job in there. I actually ran a couple small tournaments in there. And we get like a group of 20 guys. We'd set a bracket, no weight limit, just no ranking structure, and it would just be like combatives tournament, right? It was jiu-jitsu.
It was a jiu-jitsu tournament.
And it was fun. There was no real like organization, but it's like, hey, sign up. I'll make a bracket real quick and let's roll. That's it. And I usually won all of them because I was the only one who trained jiu-jitsu. You know, it was kind of cheating. And then, like I said, you know, we're going through our divorce in 2015. You know, I've told this story many times, but I started to, you know, I was alcoholic. I had a boat in my garage, and I had a hidden compartment in my boat. I'd have a bunch of alcohol in there. So nobody knew where my shit was, and I was drunk all the time. And it's like the only way that I could numb the pain, you know, a bunch of shit that happened in the military, but also that I was completely betrayed by my brothers. And, you know, like I would have died for a few of these guys, close friends, you know, and they completely betrayed me, you know. So I lost that camaraderie when I left the military twofold because I told everybody to fuck off. And I was like, I don't want to talk to any of you guys anymore. You know, even the good guys, you know. Eventually, I reconnected with most of my friends, but, you know, they all understood. They're good guys. And eventually got to the point where it's just like I couldn't take it anymore, and I decided that I was just going to fucking blow my head off. And, you know, it's a subject that a lot of people get nervous talking about. With Warriors Next Adventure, essentially what I'm doing is normalizing talking about your traumas. Not bitching, not complaining, but actually finding a good person who you can sit down and actually vent to, who you can talk to, a battle buddy, you know, we call it in the military, you know, or a partner in the LE world. You know, it's just, it depends on, you know, somebody who you feel you can be vulnerable with. And so that's essentially what I'm trying to do with this nonprofit. And I started using my personal story because I realized how much it fucking helped people. Because, you know, like I told one of my friends one day, he didn't know. And he's like, dude, you put off this like masculine bravado and you're like an MMA fighter and you're in the military, you were a 50 cal gunner, you do all this cool shit. He's like, even though you were Air Force, he's like, you know, you still show that like masculine energy, you know? I was like, hey, at least I wasn't Navy, so fucking, it's the feminine energy. And so he's just like, dude, you put off this like bravado. And he's like, he's like, what the fuck, man? He's like, you're always so happy. I was like, well, look at Robin Williams. Yeah. You know, Jeremy Sistala, he's a We Defy veteran. He actually rode with me for a portion of our trip. Great fucking guy. We were talking about Robin Williams. He was the perfect definition of depression. He literally just was funny all the time to make people laugh, because usually depressed people are pretty funny because they know what it feels like to be in pain and to be upset and depressed, and so they want to take away some of that pain by causing laughter, you know. And so that's where empaths really get fucked, you know, because I can feel when people are depressed. It's like with the nonprofit, I get depressed all the time because I truly get affected by all the shit that I do. Yeah. And when you're trying to talk somebody off of a ledge or, you know, try to get a gun out of their hands, you know, which I've done multiple times, and that shit gets rough, man. Like if you don't take care of it. But yeah, like I started normalizing talking about it. So initially, like I said, you know, going through my divorce and everything like that, I was not doing very well. So backtrack, sorry about that. Brain damage. A lot of fucking blows to the head, man. So 2015 was my worst year, and eventually I found out my youngest daughter was autistic, and that really fucking stung, you know, because everybody has an idea of what their child is going to be like, and now my daughter will never have a boyfriend. She'll never, you know, never work. You know, she's pretty low functioning, and she's 8 years old now. She still doesn't talk. She goes to school for special ed kids, and she's doing well. She's a good kid. Love that girl. Getting a little tired of getting bitch slapped. You know, it's like, okay, we need to work on communication. You know, maybe say juice instead of throw a cup at dad's head. So there's a lot of comedy there, and so I tend to laugh quite a bit about some of the shit she does. Like I actually went into her room one day, and I looked on the ground, and like she was playing with Legos. There's Legos on the floor. I'm like, what the fuck? I look, and it looked like a race car or something like that. And I looked down and got close to it. She shit on the floor. She put the piece of poo down. She put an antenna in it, a steering wheel, wheels, and a wing. She made a poop race car. I was like, man, I put a post on Facebook. I was like, you know, my daughter was in there playing with Legos or something like that. For some reason, she thought she would make a shitty race car. I was like, but she needs to get a lot better at it. And I posted it on Facebook, and I had a piece of toilet paper in my hand, and I just put it in my hand. Everyone was like, is that poop? Like, yeah. Yeah.
It's like half the joke right there.
It's a shitty race car. Come on. But that's like, it's like every day, you know. Yeah. So shit like that. She poops in the tub every time, and like it's very difficult. But that little girl fucking smiles and hugs me and shit. It breaks my heart. Like, melts my heart every fucking time. So, she's a good kid. But back then, you know, I was already struggling, and I was kind of a shitty dad, too. Because I was a lot of resentment, and it trickled down to my kids. You know, and it's not their fault. And I treated it like that. I had a lot of shit I had to work on. And then I found out that Jody had been hanging around again.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, motherfucker. That Jody guy. And so we were married still, trying to work out through things, and found out that she was actually dating some dude for a while. And she would go to the casino at night. I'm like, whatever, do your thing, man. I would just sleep with the kids and shit like that. I'd work in the morning. She'd come back at like 4 a.m. I'm like, oh, did you have fun? You have good luck? And she actually had some cash on her. And I'm like, oh, cool. Come to find out she was actually taking the rent money that I was giving her, you know, and doing other things. So, again, let me just preface, we get along just fine now, but it is part of the story. So yeah, I decided to say, fuck it. I'm gonna just fucking end it. I quit. I fucked up with my kids. I fucked up with my wife. You know, I can't even get this chick to fucking stop fucking around on me. I was like, I'm just worthless. You know, I couldn't even get my best friends to help take care of my wife. They were literally taking care of her. You know what I'm saying?
God,
and so just like, man, fuck this. My brothers betrayed me. My wife betrayed me. My fucking kids probably hate me. It was my fault, but you know, my parents didn't understand me because I never told them. And I was just like, man, fuck it, I quit. And so I went to this place called the Boundary Waters in northern Minnesota, and I kayaked out there. It was about 14 miles in the middle of the woods, and I put a gun in my head and I pulled the trigger. But like I said, I'd been kayaking, and my gun was on my hip the whole time. So chances are a bunch of moisture got in the chamber. Likely what had happened was it just dry fired. The primer was struck, but the primer was dead. Yeah. So I pulled that. Jesus. I dropped the magazine, pulled the slide back, and I was looking at the bullet after I had done it, and it's like everything went white after I pulled the trigger, so I thought it was dead. And so like I opened up my eyes, and it was like the most beautiful, like vivid colors. And like I was like, I'm not a religious person, but I'm like, if this is heaven, I mean, it's like, it's pretty fucking nice. And I was like, it's pretty. And you know, when I was looking at the bullet, I just stared at it for probably like 20 minutes. Like, what the fuck? Like, God, you suck at life, man. You can't even kill yourself. God damn it. You know, it's fucked up, but it's funny at the same time, you know? Yeah. It's like, you can't even kill yourself, you piece of shit. So then I loaded the magazine again. I racked around. I fucking shot all 19 rounds off into the water and put my gun away. I didn't touch it for probably like 3 or 4 years. I love guns. They're fun. But I was like, I'm not going to go down that road again. So afterwards, I decided to try to figure out what the fuck I'm going to do with my life. Like, why am I so fucked up? And so that's when I started doing all the work. Yeah. You know, like I had said earlier. And then eventually got to the point where I built this program. Like, you know what? I'm gonna help guide veterans out of that fucking hole. You know, because I know what it's like to be there, and I can jump back in that hole. Like, there's a saying in the military, like, you got a guy in a pit, and leadership comes by and just throws him a rope or throws him a ladder, but they don't know that he can't climb that fucking ladder. He can't climb that rope because he's broken. Yeah. Until you have a young sergeant that goes by, is like, what the fuck are you doing down in that hole? Obviously, I'm butchering it a little bit, but instead of just, you know, telling him to get out, he jumps in the hole with him. And he stays there with him, and he helps mentor him to get him out of there. And eventually he gets out. But the problem is, a lot of people don't talk about this, that sergeant usually has to stay in that hole for a certain period of time. So that's the re-traumatization that a lot of guys in my situation go through. So I literally depress myself to the point where I jump in the hole and I get to whatever state that they're in. Because I'm such an empath, like I can feel it. I can feel these guys' depression, and it literally makes me depressed. And I'm okay with that because I know that what's happening is we're matching levels. Like Tony Robbins always talks about like mirroring, you know, doing the same thing that somebody else is doing because it makes them more comfortable. Yeah. It's the same thing with emotions, you know, because if you can match somebody's emotions, it's a lot more likely that they'll actually talk to you about some of the shit they're going through. And so I have no issues doing that because I know how to get out. I'm very good at getting out now. But you have to kind of sit there for a period of time because you have to process it. So if you try to just like bury it, jump out of there, and okay, move on, you know, what's going to happen is that shit's going to catch up to you. But it's up to you to decide how long you're actually going to sit there, you know, because you know how to get out of the hole. Yeah. You have to acknowledge the fact that you're in the hole first instead of just trying to run. So I created a program called Warriors Next Adventure, and what I do is essentially I mentor veterans into figuring out how to become the best versions of themselves, how to get out of that pit, and how to improve their lives in some way, depending on what they need, right? Obviously, it's geared toward whatever the veteran needs. I have a few different programs. We have the WNA Top 50. We're climbing the highest mountain peaks in all 50 states. We have Operation Wolf Dog, which is probably the best part of our project. I love it so much. So we have a wolf sanctuary in Minnesota that we actually take veterans to go play with wolves.
Nice.
They're all hybrids.
Yeah.
Mixed with like Malamute or like Shepherd. There's a couple there that are really high content, like 95% wolf. So they're pretty much wolves. And so what we do is we build shelters for them. We build houses for them. We build fencing. We help clean up the area. We take the dogs for walks. You know, like we actually get to go hiking with wolves, which is pretty sweet.
That's pretty dope, actually.
Ironically, in like connected to the property is called Banning State Park, and Wolf Creek Falls is right behind their house. It's like a 5-minute hike. So we get to take these wolves hiking to a waterfall.
That's awesome.
So other people are there, but we go on the top side of the waterfall, and everybody else is at the bottom because of where we come in from. And so we come walking up Wolf Creek Falls with a bunch of wolves up to the edge of the waterfall because it's only like a foot deep, and you can jump to the other side. And there's a rock. You can literally walk to the edge of the waterfall. So I got some pictures of me up there on top of the waterfall with some wolves and shit. I walked 3 of them one day. I had a veteran who just couldn't hold them anymore, and so I walked all 3 towards the end there. And there's a picture of me with 3 wolves just standing there on top of a waterfall. That's awesome. It was great.
That should be a T-shirt, man. Like,
dude, it's so cool, man. So I got to rescue one of them, which was awesome. He was in a really shitty, you know, he lived outside. He had no shelter. He had no doghouse, nothing. And so they actually asked me if I wanted to go rescue him. I'm like, yeah, go rescue a wolf? That's awesome. So I went out there, and he like tried to attack me at first, like tried to jump on and mount me, but I grabbed him by the throat and I pinned him down and started, you know, patting him, doing the whole, oh, good boy. So he knows that I'm not an enemy. Yeah. But don't fuck with me, you know. And so that's how they decide the pecking order, you know. So he has to know, like, listen, I'm not an enemy, but don't fuck with me. And so right after I let him up, he started jumping on me, licking me, and, you know, pulling. So wolves, when they get excited, they'll pick at your beard. So they literally will nip your beard and pull little pieces out. And it's just them. It's them playing. Right? Yeah. It's play. But it sucks because sometimes you get. I had one. He had a giant patch. Ripped a whole patch out of my chin, and it was like bleeding and shit. I had a hole like right here for like 4 months. It sucked. It took forever to grow that shit out. And so we get to take veterans up there, and what we're doing is we're hitting that sense of purpose, right? So when a veteran goes up there and actually spends the time with these wolves, what's happening is we're actually providing for another animal. We're help making another life, something bigger than them, bigger than themselves. We're providing something better. But it also hits that camaraderie aspect. Because these wolves will not just walk up to you. You have to earn their trust, right? So if you go in the cage, especially with Diesel's the alpha. You go in there with him, he'll pace you. And when he looks at you, he'll put his head down and he'll just stare at you with the top of his eyes like he's gonna fucking murder you. And so I'm 6'2". When Diesel stands up, he can put his paws on my shoulder, and his head is still higher than mine.
Holy shit.
He's massive. Damn. Just a massive animal. So I'll show you some pictures. So he, what he does is he will circle you and literally try to intimidate you, and to the point where like you are scared. I've had many veterans be like, I am not going in there. But I eventually talk them into it. Every veteran I've talked into going in there, even though they don't really want to. So this right here, so you guys can see, this is Diesel.
Holy shit! That is a giant dog.
Look at his head. Look at his head, dude. Yeah, that's a big. Look at those eyes, too. He's just fucking scary. But eventually, you get to the point where, like me, like I go in there and they start howling and getting excited and shit. And so I literally would go in there and sit on that platform, and he'll walk up to me and like lick my ear. And so that's how I know I can start petting him, because he'll do that, and I can reach back and he'll walk forward and let me pet his mane. Like he'll take hot dogs from my hands. Like hot dogs are like the main thing we use to feed because they're long and you won't get your finger nipped. And so like people can usually when we go up to the wolf dogs, we put out a PayPal. Like, listen, if you guys want us to get anything for the wolves, just let us know. Send us some money. We had one guy who's like, here's $5. I want you to buy a box of a bag of hot dogs, but I want you to feed every wolf with this hot dog out of your mouth. Just veterans being fucking stupid. So I did it because I'm stupid. And one of them actually bit the nip of my nose.
Shit.
It wasn't bad. Like it just cut the bottom of it. But I got him a video of me just feeding wolves with hot dogs out of my mouth and shit. It was fucking hilarious. And he's like, I can't believe you actually did it. I was like, well, yeah, these guys love me. Come on. But yeah, so that program's amazing. So it hits a lot of different things. And then on top of that, what I'm doing is I'm talking to these veterans about their traumas. You know, tell me about your deepest, darkest secrets. You know, the shit that you don't talk about, that's what I want you to talk about. And so we do that while we're playing with wolves, while we're hiking through the wilderness to go to this waterfall with wolves. There's something magical about walking through the woods with a wolf. It's fucking awesome. Because it's not like a clear path either. We have to make our own path. And so I kind of like that. There's a quote by Les Brown that I really love. It's called, go where there is no trail and leave a path. And I love that shit. Because that's essentially what we're doing with this nonprofit. We're helping pave new paths for veterans. You know, but teaching them how to do it instead of just following somebody. You know, we walk beside each other and they create their own. You know, they just lean on us when they need us. We have a race car. Now, when I say race car, it's a Saturn Ion. So it's not like a really nice sprint car or anything like that. But it's cheap to fix. So we race in the Hornet division, and I crash that motherfucker like every race.
Is it a circle track or?
It's dirt track, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Circle
Fuck,
dirt track.
dude, that's big out here.
Oh, it's so fun,
yeah, totally
man.
get it.
I love it, man. And I've crashed every race. The last race, though, so I'm officially a professional race car driver because I got my paycheck for my last race.
Congratulations.
A total of $35 whopping dollars.
Hell yeah.
So every race that I do, I donate that money to the nonprofit. So I literally use it as a fundraiser. So I go in there, the better I do, the more money I raise. So I can go anywhere from $500 a night to $30 bucks. If you cross the finish line, you have to pay like $30 a race or something like that.
Yeah.
So you'll get 35. So you essentially make $5, you know. But if you get first place, and some of them you can win like $500 bucks. So I think the best I've gotten was 14th out of 16.
It's not last, dude.
It's not last.
It's not last. That's all that matters.
One time it's because the cars behind me crashed. So, but I still finished. Yeah, it's fun. So veterans get to come and sit in the garage with me, work on cars and stuff like that. But then eventually we added jiu-jitsu to the mix because jiu-jitsu has just been unfucking believable for my mental health journey. You know, we were talking a little bit about like how jiu-jitsu just helps. You know,
it does.
Hell yeah.
It helps in many different ways.
Oh yeah.
You know, and right now I'm traveling around the country filming a documentary called PTSD versus Jiu-Jitsu, which is why I'm here. And so we decided to train jiu-jitsu, you know, get some amazing barbecue. That shit was so good.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, man.
Oh, that brisket. Their sauce makes it, though. That sauce was really good.
I was a bit nervous. I was like, fuck, I gotta get in a barbecue restaurant. It's not going to be like shit. Because I was like, that's what we were talking about in the mass. I was like, go to Dickie's, but Dickie's is like a chain, man.
Yeah.
City barbecue is legit.
It's delicious.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I was stationed in Goldsboro, North Carolina for 6 years. So very experienced with North Carolina barbecue. I don't like the vinegar. I'm not a fan.
Nobody's perfect, man.
It's okay. You know?
I gotta say, I love the vinegar. That's what I had. But
That's what I grew up on.
And one of my buddies is like, it's okay to be wrong. But no, I don't like it. I like the saucy stuff. So the sauce that they had there was fucking amazing.
That's good.
Yeah,
I love that spot.
But yeah, so we decided to incorporate jiu-jitsu because, you know, jiu-jitsu, you hear that phrase so many times, like, jiu-jitsu saved my life. It's like, okay, why? Why exactly did jiu-jitsu save your life? So I decided to find veterans around the country who have amazing stories, right? So I pre-interviewed a bunch of veterans, and I chose specific gyms to interview these veterans. That obviously changed because last year COVID kind of fucked all that.
Yeah.
So I actually added a lot of, you know, Oscar over here, he's one of the guys that I added this year, and I'm really happy I did. So we're partnered up with We Defy Foundation for this. You know, we're doing all the work and everything like that, but I reached out to We Defy to say, hey, can you guys partner with us on this? You know, let us use your social media. You know, let us use your athletes, because I'm an ambassador for We Defy, but I'm also on their athlete engagement team. So what I do is, you know, I have like 4 to 5 athletes that are actually currently going through the We Defy program. And so my job is to call them and make sure they're doing okay, make sure their program's good. Like, you know, fucking Oscar needed a belt. And so I called TJ like, hey, where's this motherfucker's belt? He got his belt, you know, a couple weeks later or something like that. You know, and then, so I had 3 out of my 4 athletes ride with me on a portion of this tour. So Tyler Dressler rode with me the first week in California. JJ Dune from, I fuck JJ's name up all the time. Sorry, dude. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. He's up in Kalispell, Montana. He rode with me from Dallas down to San Antonio. And then Jeremy Sestala rode with me from San Antonio to Fort Lauderdale. And he flew out. And my girlfriend was cool enough to come visit me for a couple days, twice on this trip too, which was really nice. I needed that shit. It's fucking awesome. Because it was stressful. Like, you've been following along.
Yeah.
We've broken down like 20 fucking times. Day one, we
I don't mean to laugh, man, but it's just like, I remember seeing that. I was like, what the fuck, man?
So this thing is called a Warrior Wagon, right? It's a 1988 school bus that we actually converted into a camper. So essentially, you think about it, $300.
Yeah.
And then St. Croix Custom Furniture is our sponsor, and they actually built it out for us because he's my board member, but he's also got a custom furniture shop. So he built the framing for the bunk beds, and I helped him frame everything and do all that shit too. So I've been a carpenter since I was like 16. So I was like, yeah, we can do this. So total, it cost us about, I'd say $4,000. So I was like, okay, so we're gonna travel the country for 50 days, right? We're not gonna have to pay for hotels. We're not have to worry about sleeping on couches because we got a camper. Yeah. Right, and we can get around the whole country in this thing, right? Sounds like a genius idea. It would have cost us total like $5,500 in gas. It's a lot of gas, but it's also over 10,000 miles. So that thing did not get great gas mileage. So we figured we'd save a lot of money, but what ended up happening was every fucking day something would go wrong. Day one, we're driving 280 miles into it from Minneapolis to Fargo. We're like 10 miles east of Fargo. Fucking engine blows. Completely seizes up.
Oh, shit.
So we're going nowhere. We're done. Day one. And so I'm like, fuck, do I just go back and get my pickup truck? Or do we try to figure this shit out? So a tow truck company came and got us from Matt's Automotive Service Center in Fargo, which these guys were amazing. Super helpful. Gave us a car. Like literally just, here, take a car for a few days. And we ended up finding Fargo Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu over there because we had to wait for them to figure out what was going on. So we went to go train with George Anich. Sorry, George, if I said that wrong. Fucking great guy. If anybody is in Fargo, North Dakota, for any reason, I'm sorry, first off, but...
Wrestling, like, nationals, high school nationals there, so yeah. Dude.
His gym is the shit. It's huge. They got 2 giant mat spaces. One of them's for like a... Well, I wouldn't say the one's huge. One's fairly... maybe like a quarter of that. Mm-hmm. And then the other one is probably half of that. So it's actually really nice. Great coach. Super nice guy. Army veteran from back in the 90s and everything. And so we did a really good interview talking about his perspective in jiu-jitsu. So we trained there 2 nights in a row. So we weren't supposed to train there. We weren't even supposed to stop in Fargo, but we got 2 really good days of training out of it. So the auto company found an engine, right? But this guy he's a hot rod engine builder. So they put a 350 Chevy engine with a cam inside this bus. So you start that thing up, it's like blah, 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 blah. If that was in like a Corvette or a Camaro or a Chevelle, you'd be like, that's badass. Yeah. But you're like, you hear that and you look over and it's this fucking white short bus. Like, what the fuck? So after that, it's just problem after problem. Day 3, we're back on the bus, right? Back on the road. Yeah. 45 minutes after we leave Fargo, I'm sitting here driving and I'm looking like squinting and shit because I smell fire. I'm like, God, what the fuck? It's like, I wonder if we're driving by a campfire or something like that. I was like, that's a lot of fire. I was like, damn, it's really on fire out there. And I roll down my window, I look out, like do the Ace Ventura shit. I'm like, there's no smoke. I come back in, I whip around, and behind me there was a bed, right? Yeah. It goes long ways. And Joe, our cameraman, was sleeping. But I look back, and there's 2-foot flames shooting out of the ground.
Holy shit.
I'm like, oh, shit, Joe, fire! And I just whip it over the shoulder, and Joe's like half asleep. I'm like, get the fuck up, fire! And so I was like, get the fire extinguisher! And I kicked him off the bus, because I don't want him to smoke inhalation, I don't want to get sick.
It kind of hurts people and stuff.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Kills them too, I think.
So kick him off, and I'm spraying this thing out, right? So I found the hole where it was spreading, and so all the insulation on the floor is starting to literally just slowly burn out under the floorboards. So we have plywood on it too. So all that foam is starting to burn, and eventually if it gets hot enough, that plywood's going to start on fire. So I jammed the fucking fire extinguisher in that hole and just sprayed it all. And I put it out, but the whole bus was filled with smoke. I couldn't see my fingers in front of my face, so I breathed in a lot of smoke. And then the fire extinguisher does too. So I go out, and I'm still kind of have some lung issues from that shit, but it's whatever. I fall down on the ground, and I look up at the stars, and I'm just like, what the fuck? $5,700 is what that engine cost us.
Yeah.
So the good thing is our donors, I made a Facebook video pretty much saying, look, this is the situation. We can either stop. I could drive back to Minnesota or, fly back to Minneapolis. I get my pickup truck and we get figured out from there. Or we can get this bus fixed. Because the Warrior wagon was like the soul of this documentary, right? Mm. And so we're like, everyone's like, fuck it, let's do it. And people started donating. We raised $5,700 in 2 days.
Damn.
That's how much people believe in this shit. So I'm just like, okay, let's do it. And so bus is on fire, and I'm just like, fuck my life, man. So we get to an exit, we limp it off after we get all the dust and everything on there.
Yeah.
Put down all the windows and make sure to get it all completely aired out. And it was like 4 miles down the road, so we limped it off. And so the whole time Joe's sitting there staring at the hole, letting me know like if it starts on fire again, because we don't have a fire extinguisher anymore. And so we get off and we park. I'm like, I'm going to bed. I got nothing right now. I'm just defeated. I'm empty. I'm very good at problem solving. But I also have these 6 principles that I always talk about. And one of the principles is there anything you can do about your situation right now? At the moment, everything was closed. It was 3 a.m. It was like maybe 1 or 2. And I was like, okay, I can't do shit. I'm going to bed. I quit for the night. And so I always tell people, you got to understand, like, your mental health can only take so much. Sometimes you got to tap, right? And for me, tapping at that moment meant just go the fuck to bed. Just give up for the day.
Yeah.
I woke up the next morning, made a phone call, found a shop 10 miles down the road. We get there, they have the reason why the bus started on fire was I climbed underneath the bus, and the muffler had a giant hole in the top of it, and it was shooting flames into the floorboards.
I'll do it.
Yeah, that'll do it.
We'll do it.
So we found a muffler shop. He had the exact muffler that we needed.
Oh,
the exact same one. So he cut that bitch off with a Sawzall, put a new one on there, and we were out of there in 45 minutes. He didn't even charge us. I told him our story, what we were doing. He's like, consider this my donation to you guys. He's like, you guys are doing good work.
Good shit.
Every time we break down, I notice the generosity of the people in this country is just unfucking believable. People are inherently good.
Yes.
I'd love to believe that. I would even go as far as say that it's true. That people are inherently good people. And when you come to them with a good cause and you can explain it and articulate it in a way where that's actually going to, it's going to help them understand right away, this is what this is going to do. And, people just keep helping. And it's a little overwhelming, because I feel bad when people do things for me. But I run a nonprofit where people give me money to do good things, so I have to get that shit out of my system, So he just gave it to us, and we took off. We made it through Montana with no breakdowns. We made it to, we did break down in Idaho for a slight chance, and we blew some spark plug wires. So I was like, fuck, why is this happening? I couldn't figure it out, so I just put new wires on, and we back on the road. And then we ended up getting to, we went through Yellowstone for a little bit, went and saw Old Faithful, because we were going through anyway, so like, oh,
might as well see it.
Joe's never seen it, I've never seen it, it'd be good for the documentary, let's get some footage. Old Faithful was the most boring thing I've ever seen. Fuck. We sat there for 45 minutes. You get your camera out and you're like, just holding your camera
Any
up.
minute now, man.
Here we go. Oh, there's a little... oh, okay, shit. Okay, we're just going to sit and wait. 45 minutes, man. I was like, fuck, dude, we just lost 45 minutes of time. Because we're on a time schedule,
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck, man, I didn't think it was going to take this long. So this thing goes off, just like, oh, sweet. It's like 20 feet in the air, and it's like, okay, let's get the fuck out of here. Now I never
Check it
have
off
to
the
go back.
list, man. You're good. You're good.
I'm happy I got to see it, but I will never go back. It's time I will never get back from my life. So we ended up taking off, and we ended up getting to Nevada. We had some issues. It was sputtering really bad. Couldn't figure out what was going on, but we made it into California, which was our first. We missed a bunch of stops in Montana. So we're redoing that next year, which, speaking of that, JJ was just calling me. He's up in Kalispell.
Okay.
So we missed SBG, Montana, Hughes Grappling, and then Missoula, B2J. We missed all 3 stops because we just couldn't do it. So we had to get to California by Monday to stay on track. And so we get to California, literally like 5:30, we get into kind of close to where we need to be. And we stopped to get gas, and I go to start the engine again. There's a fire in the fucking hood. I'm like, what the fuck? So I run down, I turn the key off, I run to the front of the hood, pop the hood, and this bus is such a piece of shit. I need somebody to pull the hood latch while I punch the hood at the same time. And then they let go right as I punch, and it releases. It's super cool. It's, thief-proof, I guess.
Yeah.
Nobody's hot wiring that one.
No. It's going to hot wire itself. This thing fucking sucks. So the ground wire that leads from the battery to the front of the bus, shorted out, and it was just sparking and started on fire.
There you go.
It's like, fuck. Luckily,
done that before.
I'm smart, and I brought all my electrical equipment because I did all the electricity in my van, right?
Yeah.
So nothing that I did to that van, electrical-wise or mechanical-wise, broke. So I'm just going to preface that. So we did have a lot of breakdowns, but it was none of the shit that I fixed.
There you go.
So I'm just going to say that. I'm not a shitty mechanic. So I wired a new wire in real quick. Fucking started up, good to go. And we made it to Tyler's house at 5:45. We needed to be 10 minutes down the road at 6 o'clock. Me and Joe hadn't showered since Fargo, right? So we had like 3 days, I think 2 days there, where we hadn't showered. We're driving this bus. We smell like smoke. We smell like fire, because we still hadn't showered after the fire.
Yeah.
So we smell like a goddamn, the burn pits in Iraq. So we get there, we finally shower for 2 minutes. We jump in Tyler's car and we go to NorCal Fighting Alliance with David Terrell. You know who David Terrell is?
I do not.
Fuck, man. He's a monster. So he actually fought Dean Lister twice and beat him.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
This dude's head is like 2 of mine. It's just like a square, block. I swear if you were to punch that, I'm pretty sure you'd shatter your hand. So just amazing. His gym was the shit. These guys were just monsters. I got heel hooked by 4 white belts. I'm like, what is happening? It's no-gi stuff. So they love their heel hookers up there. I'm giving away your secrets, guys. And David Terrell actually, we're sitting here talking. He's like, do you want to roll? I'm like, not particularly because you're fucking massive, but yes, let's do it. And so he just reaches over, puts his hand on my trap and squeezes my shoulder. I was like, holy shit. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm fighting Jax from... what was that?
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat, yeah.
I thought Jax was from Tekken.
Nah, the guy with metal arms?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Mortal Kombat.
I thought that was Tekken.
Tekken had the robot guy, Jack.
No,
Might be close.
I was thinking of Jack.
Yeah, he's just a fucking
Jack.
Russian robot.
Yeah,
man. There you go.
Yeah, so Jax from Mortal Kombat. You're right.
Two robots, man.
There you
It's
go.
whatever. Yeah, it's the same shit. Same saying.
It's not Thursday, bro. Veterans will get that. So, but yeah, he just grabs my shoulder. I'm like, man, I'm fucked. And he's just super slow and very, very meticulous about his movements. And then he explodes and he grabbed me and I'm just on my back, but his whole body just boom crushed my soul. And I was like, knocked the wind out of me, dude. Just transitioning, and just beat my ass. So I'm like, fuck, I need to quit jiu-jitsu. Fucking suck. But yeah, a lot of their guys were good. Then we went to Sabre Jiu-Jitsu in Concord with Brian Pilligan. Super cool guy, great instructor, really good at talking. His speech was great. Just his instruction was really good, really nice guy. A lot of killers in there. I rolled to the white belt first, and then I looked over, and all of their purple belts were literally just staring me down. Because this guy was a veteran. He wanted to roll with me. I'm like, yeah, sure, man. So he picked it up a lot, and I caught him in some shit here and there. He might have been a blue belt, I don't remember, but all the purple belts and brown belts literally just sitting in the corner staring at me. I'm like, I'm fucked after this. The next thing you know, every mad enforcer in that goddamn room came and rolled with me and just fucking smashed me. I cut my lip in 4 spots. I don't wear a mouth guard. Probably should, but...
Yeah.
Do you wear one?
No.
You?
No.
No.
I've peaked in looks. I don't give a shit anymore.
This is why we don't do video episodes very
Yeah,
often.
dude. James Hoffman's wife said I'm the guy with the face for radio. I'm like, thanks.
Wow.
Fucking thanks.
Wow.
Yeah, we ended up going down to, after that was Santa Maria BJJ with Chris Ruiz. Awesome dude. Marine Corps veteran, runs a great school, good students. We went over to Victorum with Frank Belcorda, and just a monster. Frank fucked me up. So I really appreciate when people don't take it easy on me. So Frank, he gets in there and he's knee to belly on me, but he's transition, just spinning around and shit. I'm like, fuck. I've been on the road for a while at this point. I'm just dying. And he didn't take it easy on me. He fucked me up. Students were very respectful. He's very respectful, but it was a really good roll. I love those kind of rolls, And then we went down to, what did we do Friday? Shit. Thought we went somewhere. I don't remember what we did Friday. I think Friday we just kind of took the day off. Saturday we had an event. We did a charity event, and I actually won 2 fishing trips, which is pretty sweet. So it's 2 tickets for a fishing trip. You doing good?
Oh yeah, I was just saying you keep going.
Okay. I won a fishing trip, and I have 2 tickets now. So we're choosing a veteran who we're going to be taking with us, who's involved in the jiu-jitsu community. So we get to go deep sea fishing with Chad Mendez and Clay Guida.
That's pretty awesome.
That's fucking
pretty awesome.
sweet. I'm so excited, man. And so we're looking for a veteran who we're going to take with. We have a pretty good idea who we're going to take with, because they decided they wanted to take a Purple Heart veteran with.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're going to take one of those guys with us. And I was going to give it to another vet and everything like that, but Greg Tooley, who's the founder of the Oath Foundation, he's like, nah, dude. He's like, you better get your ass out here. He's like, we'll take one other veteran with us. He's like, they gave that to you. They want you to go.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'll take it. I try to send veterans on stuff like that instead of go myself, because I don't want it to make it look like this nonprofit is just me fucking off, you know, and people paying for it.
Oh yeah.
So it's like,
not that any other nonprofit has
I know,
ever
right?
done that.
Exactly. So I decided that.
We were talking about that at dinner. I was just, you're not doing. I don't mean to interrupt, but you're not doing the. Look at this, and you fucking pat yourself on the back, and in reality, I mean, I know of. I've got stories from different people, but people who are, I guess, not even ambassadors, more or less, just like, hey man, I'm really heavily involved in this, and then would still, if a vet came up to him with a problem, they'd be like, oh. Sorry, bud. Fucking good luck. Or even
I'm not trained in that. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, or even actively encouraging them to just being shitty to them. Yeah. Dude, fucking don't be a hypocrite. Yeah. But sorry, I digress. I guess.
There is no veteran that can tell you that I shut them down. I mean, I'll help civilians too. Yeah. Civilians reach out to me often, like, hey man, I'm not a veteran, but. Can I talk to you? Well, fucking of course. It doesn't cost money to talk. Yeah. So essentially what I do is peer-to-peer counseling. So like I said, I don't have any fancy letters next to my name, but I'm, trained by the FBI in hostage negotiation and active shooter, kind of shit. And then at the same time, I was a dispatcher for the Minnesota State Patrol for 8 years. I'm no longer, because of this tour, they decided to part ways with me because they didn't want to give me my leave. So I no longer have a job. So I'm a really good bus mechanic, guys, and apparently a firefighter. So anybody in Minnesota looking for somebody. And so I'm actually trained in crisis intervention and suicide prevention. So I translated that into my nonprofit. So I am actually trained in what I do. I'm not just some asshole pulling guns out of people's hands because I'm trying to build Chris Kyle or anything like that. It's just I'm actually trained. I personally tell people all the time. It's okay to say what you're good at. If you walk around bragging about, I do this all the time, I'm this, you're an asshole. But there's nothing wrong with saying what you're good at. With my nonprofit, I have to share some things, right? So like the hikes and the pictures of everybody together, that's the camaraderie. I'm okay with showing the camaraderie. When it comes to the mental health stuff, I don't share that. It's nobody's fucking business. I had one girl you seem like you're all about the social media stuff. I'm like, you know what? I am a lot about the social media stuff because people can see what their money's going to. If you donated money to somebody and you didn't know what the fuck the money was going to, would you continue to do that?
No.
I wouldn't.
I've actually stopped doing that because I'm like, why the fuck is the overhead 90%?
Exactly.
And not to mention, how are some people going to find out about your program and what you're doing and what you're offering? Right? I mean, social media is huge. I mean, people are all over social media, so you never know.
Initially, Wounded Warrior and everything, it was 80% or some shit like that was going to fundraising.
Right.
Right, the marketing, essentially.
Yeah.
I can spend $2,500 on Facebook in 1 year, and I can bring in 20. That's pretty good ROI.
That's really good.
I'm not spending massive amounts of money on advertising. I do spend money on advertising because it's smart. Because I need to reach the people that I need to be reached, but also, when I do need funding, I can spend $50 to boost an ad looking for trying to raise $1,000 or something like that, and then I make $1,500. That's pretty good ROI, and that's usually how. So when it comes to the algorithms and everything like that, and using proper hashtags and stuff like that, I've gotten to the point where I've figured out social media pretty well. I think, except Instagram, I can't grow my.
That's a little weird.
Instagram's rough, man.
It's weird. I have, I think, 8,400 or so on Facebook. We've only been around for 2 years. And Instagram, I think we're at like 1,500 or something. I cannot grow Instagram for some reason.
Yeah, the majority of the messages we get on Instagram, except for one loyal friend of the show, it's mainly like, "Hey, hello, friend. I am Pakistani fucking gi manufacturer. we make many good fucking like."
Oh my god!
I know you're doing like the fucking hustle and shit, but guy, like I'm not. That is like a surefire way for me not to buy shit from you, like at
hello,
all.
sir or ma'am, or like hello, kind sir.
Yeah.
I know right away. Like this is a Pakistani trying to sell me some shit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We'll make you a show you roll. No, you won't.
No, you won't. It's gonna be close, but it ain't gonna be.
Yeah, dude. Okay, what the fuck is that? Show roll? Whatever, man. Fuck it.
But yeah, it's you know, I kind of lost my track there, but
Sorry, you're talking about being, what is it? The overhead for you're showing where the money goes.
like I'm just trying to be as transparent as possible. So like everybody who donates knows what their money's going to, because either A, we need this amount of money for this, and we gain the money, and then we do that, or we'll just say, hey, this is what we're planning on doing. Depending on how much money we get, this is what we're gonna do. It just really depends on how much money we have.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the stuff that we do doesn't cost money. It doesn't cost me money to call somebody and talk to them. Like I have, please, and I would tell anybody listening to this, if you have any friends that are veterans, or anybody, I have to stay focused on just veterans because I'm only one person.
Yeah.
I have 2 ambassadors who do help me. I have 4 board members who do help me with fundraising, stuff like that. But the operations, it's all me. Social media, it's all me. Website design, it's all me. I do all that shit. The background shit is what I need my board for. I like to do the mission because the mission is my therapy. I do this for my mental health. I always call it a healthy selfishness, because what I do is, when I get to help a veteran, find himself. There's nothing better than that, because you get somebody who finds their purpose based off of a conversation that you had. Like I said earlier today, I was talking to him and his coaching ring. It's like, I've had veterans call me and say, dude, you saved my life. And the first thing I say is, no, I didn't. You did. They're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, no, I didn't. I couldn't do this without you. Like, okay, maybe without what I said. I was like, but who's the one who reached out to me? Who's the one who actually took what I told you and applied it to your life? Who's the one that continues every day to try to be better? It's you. All I'm doing is giving you tools. Essentially, that's what I do. I give people tools, and I teach them how to use them properly. You can have all the tools in the world and not know how to swing a fucking hammer. You're not going to build a house. And so these guys, I train these guys to get to the point where they can 100% heal themselves, because everybody has the power to heal themselves. Sometimes you need outside influence to gain the tools that you have. Maybe you don't have the proper tools, but you can get the tools. You have to go through the process, though. Healing doesn't start until you choose to. I don't care what you've been through. You can heal from it. There's nothing in this world that has happened to somebody that you can't heal from. And there's a lot of people that get mad at that. Be like, well, what about this? What about this? I can play that game all day. Because my friend Rob Frisbee, he was one of my state troopers. 2018, he was dying of terminal cancer. Absolutely was dying. He eventually did. I was going through a divorce, and I was, allowing myself to be sad. So you'll notice on my Facebook, I tend to reach out and actually say, like, hey, this is how I feel today, and then I'll talk about it. And not just why I'm feeling that, but the psychology about it, because a lot of people are on Facebook like, oh, look at this, look at this, look at this, look what I do, look at my cool dog, look at this shit, when really they hate themselves.
Yeah.
No, I love dogs. Please keep doing it.
I know, I'm just joking, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like, my life is perfect. It's perfect, but you don't get enough people saying, I'm depressed today.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And this is why. And that's the kind of shit that I share. I have people be like, dude, stop sharing shit like that. Nobody gives a fuck. I was like, what about the 3 people who just called me who said that, hey, man, I've been feeling the same way. I've been actually looking for somebody to talk to. Thanks for saying it, because now I feel like I can reach out to you and we can talk. You know how many fucking people I've brought to this nonprofit because of that? Because people watch, people look for that. They're looking, searching for vulnerability. Because once you have somebody, who can be 100% vulnerable and tell people, like, this is who I am, do what you want with it. People will reach out. Leaders in the military need to start realizing what vulnerability can do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying sit here and bitch to, trickle down effect. It needs to go up, not down. But at the same time, if you have a group of soldiers who are either, going through some shit or there's a loss, you need to be vulnerable. You need to share a portion. Like, hey, listen, this one time this happened. I lost a friend, and he committed suicide, and it tore me the fuck apart. I cried. This is what happened. You need to be vulnerable at that situation, and to say, this is what I did to get out of it. Proper mentorship, in my mind, is somebody who can actually be vulnerable and share a portion of their past that literally got them to the point of where that person may be. Whether it's suicidal, whether it's depressed, or it's just extremely sad. It's okay to have feelings. I don't think people, like hearing that. I don't really care what many people say. I have no problem with being vulnerable about the shit that I'm going through, because I can likely kick the shit out of most people who would make fun of me, and most people who can kick the shit out of me are humble enough that they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I love the jiu-jitsu community. Jiu-jitsu literally gives veterans everything that we need. We need camaraderie. Tell me there's not, just as good, if not better, camaraderie on these mats than there is at war.
No, I can't. I mean, it brings all sorts of people. I know Randy talks a lot about it. Just it doesn't matter the background of the person. Doesn't matter what they do. It's just like the military. I mean, you're gonna be friends with people you didn't think you'd be friends with. You're gonna train with people you didn't think you'd train with. It's
cops and criminals and
everything.
Hippies and veterans.
I mean, you think, what brings people together better than adversity, right? You put people on the mats, they sweat, they bleed. They go through a semblance of adversity on the mats together all the time, and that's what draws them together. So I can see how it'd be the same thing as in battle or whatever. It's the same concept.
It's the same in the military, embrace the suck, right?
Yeah.
We got to embrace that together.
Right.
We're going to fucking suffer together. We're going to roll together. We're going to bleed together. Go to tournaments together.
Yeah.
Tell me there's no better feeling than going to a tournament and seeing one of your teammates fucking whoop someone's ass.
Well, I was thinking the other day, there's 3 of us that we all got our brown belts the same day. And I remember that day I was more happy seeing them get promoted than I was getting my own belt. Because you come up with these guys, you train with them, and you just feel nothing but pure joy for them because you know that they put in the work, and there's nothing more selfless than that. And I think that's what brings people together. So you're right, 1,000%. Jiu-Jitsu's got some serious camaraderie.
And it humbles you too.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's a lot of guys oh, he got his fucking brown belt that I didn't.
Right.
Fuck that guy, right?
Right.
There is some of that out there.
A little bit.
Oh, yeah. It's not 100% filtered. I think sometimes people, some of those figures, I think, thrive a little bit in the community, which sucks, but...
Yeah.
There definitely is a lot of humility, though. Definitely a lot of humility. I agree with that, though. I mean, especially the higher you get, the more experience you get out there, there's always somebody bigger and badder. And actually, really, the color of your belt doesn't really dictate your ability, right? I think it's more about your dedication than it is your ability.
Yeah.
But because right now there's a blue belt walking around out there that kicked the shit out of me. That is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, the tour and everything like that. I mean, we've just been getting fucking just destroyed.
Yeah.
My body hurts, man. We've been to so many gyms, and all of their enforcers see a purple belt coming to their gym, talking about jiu-jitsu. Who the fuck is this guy? And they want a fucking piece of me.
Right.
And when I roll, I'm pretty chill.
Yeah.
I don't like to go
I
wild.
agree. Yeah.
I like to just roll.
Yeah.
And I got nothing to prove.
Yeah.
Even when I was an MMA fighter, like I said, my fight name was fucking Princess, I got nothing to prove.
That's a man with nothing to prove right there.
Yeah.
Who wants to get their ass kicked by a dude named Princess?
Well, I mean, it might have motivated some people a little better. They're like, shit, I'm going to fucking lose to Princess. It's forever on your record at that point. Because they put the nicknames in the fucking Sure Dog.
I mean, 2018, I was ranked fucking number 3 in the state, so welterweight. I mean, I was a very talented Princess.
It's good for you, Princess. Proud of you. No, but you are, and that's the thing too. That's what I was thinking about. On top of it, they talk about long roll sessions. I've done the marathon rolls. It's oh, we're gonna do 8 hours straight rolling, 10-minute breaks every hour. I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. And then the next thing, I'm like, dude, this is a fucking terrible idea. Just getting pushed out of bed by my wife.
Yeah.
Just puts both feet on my back and just fucking kicks me out of bed.
Yeah.
But
I would never do a roll of fun. Fuck
dude,
that.
they're awesome. But next day you're just hating life.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
But this is a super extended roll-a-thon pretty much because you're on top of rolling every place you go. And like you said, when for whatever reason, I don't know where this came from. When the new person comes in, it's at every gym. When the new person comes in, and they're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Everybody tries to kick their ass.
It's like you got to initiate them into the clan.
Yeah,
you know,
or like fucking, because one of my old coaches, Andre, he's a Brazilian guy. He's like, "You see him? He is a purple belt too. You kick his ass." I was like, I don't know the guy. He could be like a really nice guy. It's like I don't care. Just kick his ass. I was like, okay, so of course.
I saw like tournaments and shit. Like you'll see me like bullshitting with the people I'm about to compete with.
Yeah.
Like, laughing and shit. Like when I was fighting, I'll never forget my first opponent, Carlos Perez. He was a Marine Corps in the Marine Corps while I was in the Air Force. They sold it as Air Force versus Marine.
Very nice.
Yeah. And so before the fight, the day before, we were doing weigh-ins. I was like, "What's up, dude?" I was like, "Hey, man, nice to meet you." I was like, "I'm excited to fight you, man." He's like, "Yeah, it's a little fucking weird listening to you talk like that." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You're just really fucking nice, and I'm not expecting that." I'm like, "Well, I mean, we're just fighting."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Just fighting?" He's like, we're about to beat the fuck out of each other. I was like, "I know, I'm so excited." He's like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're fucking nuts." And so we went out there and I won. I won by decision. And so I went and looked at the video not too long ago, and I was like, "I didn't look too bad," but my jiu-jitsu was fucking dog shit. There was like 5 times where I had easy arm bars. I didn't do it. I couldn't fucking grab it. Like I grabbed the arm and I just like smack his face like this, like, "Dude, throw the arm bar," and I'm screaming at myself. It's like I don't think he can hear you back in 09.
No. But perpetually, everybody's jiu-jitsu is dog shit when you look back. Like, you fucking
No matter what.
Yeah, seriously.
No matter what.
See some videos from like the St. Croix grappling games in like 2012. That's the local. The grappling games were pretty much the bigger one in Minnesota in that general area. It's in Hudson, Wisconsin, which is right on the other side of the river. But Mike Ellefson put those on. Mike is like the definition of warrior in a garden. You know, just the nicest guy. But he's a black belt in like Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu. Fucking, he does judo.
Jesus Christ.
Really, really nice guy. Puts on a great tournament. But I watch videos of me fucking 2012. I'm like, "God, you suck." But at the time, I had never trained in a gi. So first time
that's what happens.
Yeah, so it was all no-gi stuff up until 2014 when I started training with Mark Mortensen at Trax BJJ. We're affiliated with DNA Jiu-Jitsu. It's Rafael, we call him Rafael Simpson because the back of his head's so long, he looks like Bart Simpson. You know, he's got a really long head. Fucking great guy. He's a lot of fun. But Mark, I started training gi in 2014, and I put a gi on for the first time in a white belt. And I'm just like, "Fuck, man." I was like, "I'm not a white belt. It's bullshit." But I'm like, "Dude, you never train in a gi." I knew no lapel chokes. I knew no like wrist grabs. I didn't know how to grip. Nothing. Yeah. So I had to learn all that shit. But I got promoted to blue belt in 6 months, and because my grappling was pretty good, you know, because the no gi shit. And then so as a white belt, I was like, fucking first place, just killing tournaments left and right. And then I get promoted to blue belt, second place, third place, second place. I was like, "What the fuck am I doing wrong?" I couldn't figure it out, man. I just got so frustrated. I almost did the blue belt disappear, Mac. You know, it's like, man, fuck this. But I kept working at it, and eventually, first. It kind of worked out nice. But the problem was, I ended up breaking my neck in 2016. I was fucking around. Somebody had me in the top. I was on top. Yeah. With my head down, they had me a head and arm choke, and I jumped and I twisted. So I'm pretty athletic. I jump and move around. So I jumped and I twisted. My body turned, but my neck didn't. And I heard it was like, that's it. It sounded like somebody hit me in the back with a fucking steel chair in WWF, you know. And instantly just laid down. I'm like, "Oh fuck!" Like I could barely move my legs, my arms, everything was just numb. And I was like, "I think I just broke my fucking neck." And my coach comes over. He's like, "Nah, you're fine." I was like, "No, I'm fucking serious. Like, I have no feeling right now." So I started wiggling my fingers, but everything was tingly. I'm like, "Oh, fuck." I was like, "I think I damaged my spinal cord." I was like, "Fuck." So the hypochondriac me came out. And so he grabbed me and did what probably shouldn't have been done, but he wrapped a belt around my neck and he did tension. What's that called? Traction?
I think
it's called traction.
Yeah, traction.
Yeah, so he wrapped a belt around my head, around my neck, and sat down at the top of me and put his feet on my shoulders and just pulled with the belt. So what that does is it separates your spine a little bit to let things fall in place. Yeah. And it did feel better, which was good for that day. And then the next day I woke up and I couldn't get out of bed. And I was walking around like a zombie. Like, I literally couldn't turn my neck to the left or the right. So I would walk around like fucking Frankenstein. And I rolled around like that and kept training jiu-jitsu because I was a dumbass for about 2 months. And so my arm started to atrophy so bad on the right side where I lost 1.5 inches of mass. Got to the point where I couldn't curl a 5-pound dumbbell. It was so bad. And so I finally was just like, I think I need to go get looked at. I was going to a chiropractor, and like he would feel better every once in a while, but I was just like, man, I think something's more fucked up than what you can do. He's like, no, we're gonna do this, no surgery. I'm like, man, you're just trying to collect money. Fuck you. I went and got an MRI. I was in the operating table that next day.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah. He's like, you needed a fucking surgery last week or last month. Fuck. So what happened was 2 of my vertebrae, my C6 and my C5, were actually like a quarter turn twisted. And so when that happened, the disc popped out on the right side. It was like almost half the disc. This side of the disc was actually rubbing up against my spinal cord. And so they're like, dude, if you would have kept training, you probably would have been paralyzed.
Damn.
He's like, you're a fucking idiot. And so my neuro doctor was really cool. And so when they did the surgery, they twisted those back, and they had to cut off a piece of the bulge. They essentially had to extend my vertebrae for the disc to pop back into place. And so they put it back. And then there was a hairline fracture down one of my cervical things, or the bone. And they essentially told me, you'll never fight again. You have an 18-month recovery, and chances are walking's going to be really rough for you. I'm like, fuck that. I was like, I'm going to fight again this year. They're like, okay, calm down, Hercules. I'm like, watch me. It's going to happen, right? So I told you I started studying Buddhism right about this time.
Yeah.
And so epigenetics is essentially like the science behind Buddhism, right? So the fact that, you can literally think yourself sick, like a hypochondriac. Why can't you think yourself healthy? Like, I'm not saying voodoo shit. Like, I got the surgery, yes.
Yeah.
But I started reading books on like cervical spine, like how to heal it, like what you can do, and extra things. I started rubbing CBD. I did everything, like all the holistic shit on top of my own PT because I didn't want to go pay for physical therapy. So I just did my own. And so I looked up a bunch of physical therapy shit for necks and everything. So I created my own program. And 2 months after my surgery, I got called in to get my staples removed, which I already pulled out like all of them because it was so annoying because they stapled my neck. I got like a giant vagina on my neck, if you can see.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you were in line. All right,
know,
well,
right?
holy shit. I was like, oh, yeah, that's
Call
it.
me
No, that actually looks like one. Oh.
Call me Nicole. But yeah, so I got that giant vagina on my neck. So there's a bunch of staples in my neck. And I could feel it rubbing on my spine. I was like, every day I'm like, oh, I could feel that metal on my bone, and I don't like it. So one day, one of them was kind of loose, and I just ripped it out. And I was like, sweet. I went and got a pliers and a mirror. And I'm looking at the mirror while holding another mirror, and just whack, whack. So I ripped out like 12 staples. So I went in there. There's one that I couldn't get. That thing was in there. And what happens is when they put them in, they do kind of curve. And they have a special tool to take them out. So I was literally tearing my fucking skin apart when I pulled it out. So it was bleeding. Yeah. But it still healed enough. And I was putting this like ointment and shit on it. And 2 months after my surgery, they did an MRI, a bunch of other shit. And the nurse asked me to go in and sit down and wait for the doctor. I'm like, okay. So the doctor comes in. He's like, what did you do? And I'm like, oh shit, is it bad? He's like, no. He's like, you're good. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, your neck is like 100% healed. And I'm like, how? He's like, you're a freak. He's like, you are an absolute freak. I was like, or is it manifestation? Because I fucking told you that I'm going to heal my neck. I told you that I'm going to fight again. I told you that I'm going to walk again. I'm not going to have any of these issues because I don't want to. And I feel like I can do better than that. Yeah. 2 months after that, I fought in the cage as Princess, and I won Fight of the Night.
Hell yeah.
Beat the fuck out of each other. It was great.
Good shit, man.
Yeah, so I came back, and then I did so good in that fight. I got a title shot. Ended up losing that title shot, but I ever tell you the story about how I shit my pants in an MMA fight?
Everybody's got a good pants shit in the store.
Oh, dude, it was wonderful. It's nice. Luckily, it was mushy, so it didn't fall out, So I had a really shitty weight cut. Like, the camp was good, but the weight cut was bad. Yeah. When I rehydrated, I got super bloated. And so if you see the pictures from that fight, I actually looked fat. But it was my rehydration that really screwed me. So I looked fluffy. I gained about 15 pounds of water weight.
Hell yeah. That's how you know you did it right.
I know, right? But it was just didn't look good, man. And so that fight comes out, and I don't get super nervous before fights. Like, any of my coaches would tell you that I would, like, meditate and shit, and, like, I was pretty calm. But my coach comes in, and he's like, okay, let's get going. I was like, all right. So I shit, like, 30 fucking times before that fight. I am a nervous shitter. I don't get mentally super nervous, but my body starts doing the fight or flight response, where it just evacuates all your bowels, right? So I go out in the ring, they ring the bell and shit like that. I was like, there's no way there could possibly any amount of poop in my body anymore, because the amount that I let go. So I'm just like, okay, all right, we're going to do this good. I got to protect your stomach. Your stomach hurts. Thinking about my stomach. And so first couple exchanges, I caught him pretty good. He was ranked like number 1 in the nation at the time, and everyone's like, don't fight this guy. He's going to kill you. I'm like, what's the worst that could happen? Fuck it. I was young and dumb. And so, like 30 seconds into the first round, he spears me like fucking Goldberg right in the stomach. And I fart, but then next thing you know, I'm like, oh. Like, yeah, I trusted a fart I shouldn't have. And so, giant chunk of shit falls into my ass. And I squeeze my butt cheeks as tight as I could to make sure that thing didn't fall out, right? So I always wear spandex underneath my shorts, right? So all my spandex, everything got mushed up into my butt. So I got this giant chunk of shit in my ass. And I'm trying to fight, and the whole time I'm trying to just squeeze my butt cheeks together so poop didn't fall in my pants. And I'm still throwing like Muay Thai kicks and shit. And I'm just like, oh my God. And luckily the bell rang, and I go sit down in the corner. My coach is outside. Sean Gilliver comes in and puts my stool down. I was like, I shit my pants. So like, no, you're doing good. It's like, no, I shit my pants. Literally, there's poop in my pants at this moment. And he's like, what? I was like, yeah, he speared me and I pooped. Like, I'm literally smushed this shit so much to where it won't go anywhere. He's like, okay, just don't get hit in the stomach, and maybe don't throw any kicks. You never know. So I'm like literally screwed right now, fighting like the most important fight of my life because it's for a title shot, you know? And so again, second round comes and fucking spears me again right in the stomach. I'm like, oh shit! And so takes me down, and he takes side control, and his side control is really good, but he did, you know, where you come out. Was that Ashigarami?
Oh, you're talking about like the
Kasakatami?
Yeah, Kasakatami.
Yeah.
And so he had his fucking lats just digging into my shoulder. So I put my feet down. So he just, please pass my side control. So he took mount, and I'm like, thank you, because luckily sweep mount sweep real easy. It was super easy. I'm like, that's almost too easy, and I fucked up, but I left my arm up. Caught me a head and arm choke. I had never been so happy for a fight to be over. So like, dude, I go out and everybody wanted to talk and shit. I was like, you know what? Let's just. I'll talk to you guys in a few minutes. I had to go to the hotel room and fucking tear those pants off of my ass and get that shit out of there. It was a shitty situation for sure.
Oh, fucking boo!
Sorry, I had to do it.
That's all good. Well, we appreciate all the pan shitting stories we've had tonight, but. Before we finish up the podcast, where can people find you? Where can people watch this journey? Because honestly, this is getting posted. Today is Friday. It'll be up tomorrow, Saturday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So Saturday, depending on when it's at 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, we're actually going on to CXBJJ with Enrique Watson.
Okay.
Down by Camp Lejeune. And we'll be traveling around the country. We're going north right now, so we'll be hitting North Carolina, Virginia, and going north. So if you go to warriorsnextadventure.com, and there's a tab, and the drop down, it says PTSD versus Jiu-Jitsu. You can see all the stops that we're supposed to hit the rest of the way. You can donate on there, on that webpage. You can go to Facebook, Warriors Next Adventure, YouTube. Everything's Warriors Next Adventure. It's pretty easy to find us. You'll see our logo. It's that big sphere, the Viking symbol.
Yep.
And you can donate on any of those platforms. The good thing is Facebook and PayPal Giving Fund, when you donate from the website or you donate on Facebook or even Instagram too, there's no fees. So there's no fees for you or the person, no fees for me.
That's good.
The thing is, though, they hold it for like 15 days. They collect the interest on it, and then they cash it out, which is smart. Makes sense. But there's no fees for anybody, so that's nice. All of our 100% of the funds go back to the nonprofit. Nobody gets paid. There's a few things that I got reimbursed for because we ran out of money, and I had to pay for the graphics. So I paid for the graphics, and I did get reimbursed for that because I don't have a job. So I got a few $1,000s in my name right now. So that's probably the only time I've ever taken any money from this nonprofit. I just didn't have money. Whenever I have money, I donate probably $4,000 or $5,000 a year because there's shit I want to do, and I can't do it without money in the funds. So I'll just donate my own shit. we have a bunch of different things that we're doing right now. Right now, there's an active lottery. So we have 3 slots taken. We have 1 slot left. If you start a fundraiser or raise $1,000 in any way and get that money to us, it has to come to us. We're doing a lottery for the mountain climb. So August 11th through the 15th, we're going to Colorado. So we're doing a mountain climbing retreat in Colorado. So there is a program to it. So we are doing mental health work. It's not just hanging out and bullshitting.
Okay.
So you are going to do some work there. We're going to climb a mountain, train jiu-jitsu. We're going to this place called Mattersville. It's a wolf sanctuary. So the first 4 people to raise $1,000. There's only 1 slot left. So the next person that raises $1,000, you get me the information. Let me know that you actually raised that $1,000, and we will actually fly you to Colorado. All expenses paid. Airbnb's paid for, flights paid for. We pick you up at the airport. We take you to the mountain. We help you get up that mountain, and then we fly you home. So there's 1 slot left. First person to raise $1,000.
Go do that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, because it's a win-win. Because then their family gets to get directly involved in this veterans healing process.
Yeah.
So friends and family get to get involved 100%. People always say, "How do I help? What do I do to help?" Donate or share some stuff on Facebook. Share the content. Give it to other veterans who you think may need it. Reach out to me. Say, "Hey, I got a veteran who may need you." I'll call him. I'll shoot him a text. I'll call him, but the healing process doesn't work until that person acknowledges it and actually returns it to me. Because I can't work. It's the whole lead a horse to water kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and the best thing anybody can do is find a battle buddy and fucking start talking.
I like it.
Agree with that.
Absolutely. So, Nick, once again, thanks for coming on the show and all the driving, man. I'm glad that you were able to make a stop through here.
So tired, man.
Go get some sleep, man. Holy shit. Randy, you got anything for our friends?
Yeah, man, I love the mission. I love what you guys are doing out there, and I've enjoyed the conversation, the meals, the rolls. It's been a fun experience. You guys are always welcome around here, so good best of luck to it. I'll be keeping up with you guys, pushing forward from this point forward. So
Thanks for that coin.
yeah. I do. Thank you.
Oh, shit. Thanks, man.
So appreciate it.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show. I'm Rob.
I'm Randy.
And we'll catch you guys next time.